Well, folks, thank you for tuning in today. What a weekend of football in the NFL, capped off by what some are already calling, Rod, the Super Bowl. and it's kind of hard to argue that a little bit right now.
That was an epic game. I called it on the radio this morning an instant classic. Unbelievable. And too bad it had to end the way it did. But who knows if overtime rules will be discussed and debated again with the NFL brass.
Well, you brought me right into the reason for this video practically today, other than the fact that this was an amazing game, which we will talk about in a little bit more detail here. So, will the NFL actually consider changing playoff overtime format?
I think there's going to be pressure on both sides to do so. But I'm going to say ultimately, they'll say those are the rules, them the breaks in terms of changing things now, because you're going to say, why are we letting one game, even though it was an absolute fantastic, awesome game, determine the rule changes? But it was too bad. But I give credit the Bills for their side of things have said that's the rules. We understand, and we'd be celebrating if we were on the other end too. But as someone said to me in the business this morning, the Bills basically lost in a coin toss, which is it's hard to fathom. But again, that's the rules.
Well, that's the issue, right? Because fans are, and of course, it's no surprise, Buffalo Bill fans. I'm a lowly Packers fan today. Our fate was sealed before you guys had that epic showdown with Kansas City. But my goodness, it just seems to me like the Bills fans. I mean, this one hurts. But before we even go into talking about comparing this to wide right, um, is this really a rule that could be considered to be changed, or is this just a matter of circumstance for Bills fans specifically that are, of course, very upset?
I think it can be a rule. I mean, obviously, you mentioned wide right with the Bills. There's also the Music City Miracle. Yeah, it seems like Bills fans have been taking it on the chin for decades. Let's hope there's good discussion and it's not pushed to the side immediately and right away.
And that's the thing, right? I mean, is this really can other fan bases vouch for the pain that Bills fans are feeling right now?
In terms of sports, that's a good question. We can go outside the realm, but Buffalo Bills. This is there's more that I just mentioned, but there's three off the top that Bills fans have felt the pain. I can't think of any other fan base or sport or franchise in the last couple of decades that have gone through the hardships the Buffalo Bills has. So yeah, you can't. There's nothing really you can compare to.
Yeah, and that's why it's like, my gosh, and this isn't a shot at Bills fans whatsoever. Like I was cheering for them absolutely when Josh Allen threw that touchdown before the 13 seconds were left. I mean, my goodness, it was like they had him, right?
25 points were scored in the last minute 50. And then there was lead changes in that time. It was an epic game.
I mean, that in your lifetime, you seen any, maybe not even just football, any game like that?
You'll appreciate this just from a Niagara perspective and Major Junior. Ice Dogs down 5-1 with 8 minutes to go back at the Jack, and they win against the Sudbury Wolves with Ryan Strome and Brett Ritchie. That was an epic comeback in terms of hockey. But in terms of lead changes and the emotion, no, that was yo-yo effect. Absolutely, just up and down. You think it's over, and then something else happens. It was crazy to watch.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Shout out to Stromer, who was very vocal immediately. He was one of the first ones I saw come up on Twitter last night, reacting to this, Rod.
Did he? What did Stromer say?
He said it's the worst playoff overtime format in sports.
Yes. Okay. And we should let people know Ryan Strome, former Niagara Ice Dogs captain, now member of the New York Rangers of the NHL National Hockey League. So, yeah, Stromer's a big Bills fan. There's a lot. It's amazing. I've been on a bunch of Zoom calls today with people you don't assume are sports fans, are football fans, and everyone is talking about the Bills and KC from last night.
And that's why it was so poignant for me to jump on and do this. I mean, folks will typically recognize my content here on my channel for hockey, but I've wanted to branch out and talk about other sports. And when a sports story is as hot as this one is, and as entertaining as that game was, it's really hard not to be talking about it the next day. This is going to be the water cooler conversation probably across North America, maybe not even just Canada, right?
No, it'll continue until the league makes some kind of announcement, whether they're going to look at the overtime format. It'll be talk going into next weekend. You just said it. Some people said it was, I mean, the Super Bowl. I mean, if it can live up to a quarter of that entertainment, it would be awesome, because that was one heck of a game.
And, just a great showdown between these two guys right here, right? Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and also just some huge class from Patrick Mahomes, seeing him run down the field and just embrace Josh Allen. I think that he felt his pain a little bit there.
Well,
maybe not by experience, but
I saw that clip exactly. Patrick Mahomes could have celebrated, could have rubbed anybody's face, celebrated with his teammates, and he had one heck of a game too. But for him, all he wanted to do was to go and embrace Josh Allen and tell him how good that game was. I don't know if you heard the post-game interview from on the field. He actually swore. He apologized for that. He was asked about the game. All he could talk about was Josh Allen. You've got to love that humility. You don't have to like Kansas City to appreciate and respect what Mahomes did. And then more importantly, in some cases, in life lessons, what he did after the game to reach out to Josh Allen and to announce to the nation that how good Josh Allen was. Much respect to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's just, to me, like when I saw these two quarterbacks, and a lot of people are saying these guys could both already be Hall of Famers. I know it's early to say something like that, but I mean, with Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady out of the picture for the Super Bowl, we're starting to see these younger quarterbacks really take over and show fans why the NFL is as entertaining of a product as it is. So is this just a great sign for the future of the game to see players like this representing the game of football?
Yeah, and not only at the quarterback level, most people say that was the best weekend of NFL football in the history. Every game was decided, obviously, late with a field goal, or in the case of the Bills and KC, in overtime. So just awesome for the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was all four games. So all four games this weekend ended on the final play of the game. What do you make of that, Rod?
Spectacular. The parity. Most leagues want parity, want entertainment, don't want fans to turn away from the game because it's a blowout, because there's no entertainment value. Every game kept you tuned in.
Yeah, to say the least. I mean, again, it's just I think, could other leagues learn from this experience of just seeing the product that the NFL was able to put on, because it was they got so much praise last night just from the quality of entertainment that everybody saw.
I think what every league needs to do is have storylines surrounding these games. You have that Green Bay hat on today. Obviously, the Aaron Rodgers, that was the team he reportedly wanted to go to in the offseason, was San Francisco. He plays them in the playoffs. Is his career done with the Packers? You've got Tom Brady. Everybody assumed he was going to get to another NFC championship game, if not another Super Bowl. He's out of there. You had the Bills and Kansas City, arguably the two best teams playing. Last year they met in the AFC championship game. Now they meet in the divisional weekend. You had so many storylines. So each league, each team, each franchise has to build up those storylines to get, and also, and we haven't even brought up, Drew, the money behind it. The NFL is and are the big boys on the block, right?
Yeah, that's where it's like, hang on, folks. Like, there's a serious financial backing to support the product that the NFL is able to put out there, right? So
just to let you know, I still do have the mug today. Still believing. I mean, you can't. If the Bills caused their own fate last night with a loss, it would be a different story. But I mean, what a game! They left it all on the field. I mean, there was a couple of question marks in the game, but I mean, you can't question the performance and the effort.
Yeah, and that's why, shout out Bills Mafia too, because again, been through so much, and like they were on the brink of going to another AFC championship game, and might have had a better chance, especially if they were able to get through KC.
Can you imagine the hype this week alone with if the Bills were hosting? Because if they would have won last night, they would have been hosting an AFC championship game. Would have been just crazy in our parts here in Western New York and Southern Ontario.
Yeah, fans deserved it, and the Sabres are rebuilding too. The Bills are well on their way in turning their franchise around. So I think the city of Buffalo is in for some much due W's, and I believe it's coming. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Let's hope. Here's hoping.
Here's hoping, right? Well, just so folks, and this is the final play, by the way. This was the touchdown that won the game for Kansas City, which was borderline reviewable at the time, but you could see that he got both feet down. So again, this is going to live in history and NFL lore, and the Bills are absolutely part of it now. I know it's on the outside again, guys. I know, but the future is bright in Buffalo in my mind right now.
Yeah. No. Let's hope. The Sabres look like they were going to make that turn. Well, obviously with the same ownership group with the Pagulas there and Pagula PSE there in charge. The Bills have obviously made the turn for the better, and we will wait to see what happens with the Sabres.
Well said, my friend. Well, Rod Mawhood, ladies and gentlemen, for those that don't know, Niagara Ice Dogs announcer, 610 CKTB radio guy. You've been in the business a long time, Rod. The Niagara Sports Report is your main gig right now. It seems like that's what's getting the most traction. Is that about right?
Yeah, just because of everything that's going on here in Southern Ontario in terms of COVID restrictions and protocols. We should mention as well, I've had a chance to cover the Bills for over 20 years, first with ESPN and most recently with Fox Sports. So and I was a season ticket holder back in the day before I got in the business. So the Bills have been part of me for decades. And I would have said it would even be harder last night if they didn't show up and they didn't perform the way they did. Josh Allen was magical, and what a performance. And glad we could talk today, Drew.
Well, that's that epitomizes the pride behind being a Bills supporter and just your career and those that want to check out Rod's show can do so. It's still on Sundays, iHeartRadio. You can catch it there too. Is that right?
Saturdays 9 to 10 live, and Sundays 6 to 7 p.m. 9 to 10 a.m. live on Saturdays, 6 to 7 p.m. on Sunday nights is the repeat. Niagara Sports Report, and we speak with NFL and Major League Baseball and NHL and all pro leagues, grassroots, and everything else we get from around there. A lot of NHL guys with ties to Niagara, of course.
That's right, and yeah, I think it changed from last time we talked. So it was on Sunday now.
It's it was changed back in the about it. Yeah, exactly. Last time we spoke, it was a couple of years ago, so it changed last year. Yeah.
Very good. Well, you're doing great stuff, Rod. We appreciate you just spotlighting the Niagara region in terms of sports and those that come out of here and go on to have success. And it certainly is appreciated by them and by us too. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in today. Stay encouraged, Buffalo. It's not over yet.